Back on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell. Short Kaplan on the ones and twos. Dan Dakich joins us now on the Bobby V's hotline. He's got his own show, Don't At Me on Outkick. He's also got another show in Indianapolis. He's a very busy man. Usually we get him on to talk some college basketball. Well, we're going to talk football with Mr. Dakich. Tell us about your Indiana football team, man. And did that guy ever stick the corn cob where the sun doesn't shine?
Yeah.
No, that guy didn't. He deleted Twitter, that punk ass.
No! You got to pay off that bet.
Fan. I can't find him. People in Indiana have been looking for him. You know, we're still no, but we moved on to the next game. Our coaches taught us that. Google him, man. He'll tell you. He wins, and he has. And I got to tell you guys, this place is nuts. Like, Indiana is insane over this team. They love Signetti because Signetti came in, and first thing in front of the entire, Assembly Hall, big game, he got the mic, said, screw Purdue, they suck. And by the way, Ohio State sucks and Michigan sucks.
Yep.
And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to be 10-0 for the first time in school history, man. I don't care who we've played. I've seen all this stuff. Yeah, okay, easy schedule, one ranked team, and it's coming up in 2 weeks. But screw it. So what? Don't care. They're 10-0, and we're loving it. Loving it, Dibs. Loving it.
Now, 4 teams in the top 5 in the Big Ten, which is just unreal. This Indiana-Ohio State game in a couple of weeks is going to be monstrous. They've got a week to prepare for the Buckeyes, but give me some specifics. Like, what is this team really good at? How are they getting this done? How did they even put this outfit together?
Well, 13 transfers from James Madison came with them. The entire coaching staff came with them, guys that have been with Signetti for a long time. Now, that started. Those guys are used to winning. And the guys that came over from James Madison are older guys. You know, they're guys that aren't freshmen. You're not going to develop bodies. You know, they're already full-grown-ass men, wide receiver, skill position guys. They got a transfer from Wake Forest named Ellison, running back, who's really good. But kind of the key to the whole thing has been a kid named Curtis Rourke. Rourke, he's interesting. He's in his 5th year. He was a MAC Player of the Year at Ohio University. And Signetti was evaluating, needed a quarterback. And you know what? Production's production is what he said. This guy was very productive. He's a winner. And they brought him in, and it's been truly a perfect fit. And I'll tell you something else. I usually talk, when I talk football, college football, about something Urban Meyer told me or whatever, and he was doing Big Noon Kickoff. I think it was a Nebraska game. Maybe it was the second time. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, we met for dinner after, and he goes, this is the best coach team in the Big Ten. He said, I'm telling you, when you look at discipline things like special teams, do guys stay in their lanes, penalties, fumbles, losing the football. He goes, some teams I watch getting ready for whatever, and I turn them off. Like, no, these teams sucks. Indiana, I want to watch more. And so that's the specifics of really well-coached team, a quarterback that is, productive, really productive, obviously, in the MAC, and is going to be a draft choice, fit perfectly, 13 transfers, and athletes. They went out and in other transfer situations identified athletic ability. And when you watch them, when you combine athletic ability with guys that are used to winning transfers that know the coach, a tough-ass quarterback that's a winner, a staff that's been together, it's a pretty good formula, and it's really worked.
Talking to Dan Dakich, former Indiana hoops player, was awesome in college, played under Bobby Knight, then he coached there. Tell me about that more. Tell me more about the coaching at Indiana and just getting them ready to play these games. I mean, the Michigan game was probably the only one that was a close game, but you've got this big Ohio State game. What can they do in the next 2 weeks to be prepared for Ohio State?
Well, they're a little banged up. Now, this is coming from them. They're a little banged up. They got to figure that out. They got a line. They got to figure out. They just lost one of their longtime starting guards, so they got to figure that position out because Ohio State, they got pass rushers, offense, defensive line has always been a strength, obviously, of Ohio State. But the thing going back to what you asked, Dibs, you know what? This coach is never satisfied. Like, there isn't a sense of, incredible celebration when they win. He keeps things very even keel, and he's talked about that. He goes, look, I expect to win. I brought coaches here that expect to win. And I brought players in here, most of whom have won. And we want to win every game, and we're going to be happy we won every game, but there's a bigger thing out there. And, a lot of coaches say that, but that dude makes you believe it. Like, literally make me believe it. I don't believe anything a coach says. So that's a big deal. What can they do against Ohio State? Again, they don't turn the ball over much. They can't do that. They have to run the ball, and that's where they've got to figure out, according to them, and a long time, 52 years. In fact, radio announcer Don Fisher's a friend. They got to figure the line out over these 2 weeks because they are banged up. But you turn the ball over, Ohio State's going to kill you, right? Don't do it. I will say this: it's the first time now. I was 17 years at Indiana. I am in my adult life have never bought a ticket to an Indiana game. They were beating the crap out of Penn State. I told my wife, I don't care. I'm going online. I'm buying tickets to the Ohio State game. I got a bus that I'm in with 2 other guys, my brother and another
awesome.
guy.
Hell yeah.
We're taking one of these. We're taking a bus. It's got TVs, all the stuff. We're leaving at 6. We'll be drunk by 6:30. It's going to be a hell of a time.
I can't wait for this game. We got to wait a couple of weeks for this action, a bye week for the Hoosiers now. All right, let's move over to the hoops side. You were really down on your Indiana Hoosiers last year, and they're going to start top 25. They've already got 2 wins under their belts, the directional schools of Illinois. But what do you think of this new roster and the 2024-25 version of the Indiana Hoosiers?
I like them because they address what they didn't do. They address shooting and quickness. And the coach who was a great player, Mike Woodson. I've known him forever. He's a little bit before me, but now at least he's starting to talk about defense and toughness. Before it was always like just nonsense. Like feelings and taking up for players and showing you're a player's coach and all that. That's not what Indiana's always been about. Indiana, in my opinion, going back, has been about tough. I like this team. They're athletic. They shoot. They got a great front line. And, I mean, I think they paid $1.2 million for this kid from Arizona named Balo, who's a big, strong monster. They got a kid in Baco who's going to be, I think he's a prototype, a little bit like what Danny Hurley was playing with at UConn. I can't remember the kid's name. He made a bunch of
Adama Sanogo.
No. I'm talking about a wing kid that made all his shots and ended up as a first-round pick 2 years ago.
Oh, Bouknight.
Man.
James Bouknight, probably.
Yeah, I thought it was a different guy. I don't know. But he's 6'7", long arm, shoots the tar out of it. And I like him. I don't know the Big Ten as well as maybe I should. I saw Purdue. Or let me put it another way. I don't like the Big Ten as well as I should. I saw Purdue. I never make judgments on Purdue. We always call it the Renaissance. The metamorphosis of Purdue happens about December 25th, Christmas. They turn into a different team. Michigan looked really good to me. I thought Michigan, Dusty May's there. Yep. Illinois looked uber talented to me, but same kind of thing, a little unorganized yet. I don't know if the Big Ten's going to be really good. Michigan State looked okay, had a chance to beat Kansas, which is good. But I like Indiana's team. But for the first time ever, November 15th or whatever the hell date it is, we don't care. We don't care. They got South Carolina this weekend. We don't care. When's football playing? When the hell's football playing? Let's go. We're not messing around. Let's go. So you know what I mean? That's kind of the way. It's a weird feeling here at Bloomington or in Indianapolis, too.
What your feelings on some of these coaches? I know that another college football coach is quitting. He's a 61-year-old guy. He says, I can't do the transfer stuff anymore. I can't do the NIL. Just your thoughts. You brought up this kid that they gave $1.2 million to. Everybody's going to have to do it one way or the NIL transfers or whatever. So what are your thoughts on if you were coaching today? Could you handle it?
I would embrace the living hell out of it. I would. Just kind of for my own. Sometimes, Dibs, you got to do stuff for yourself. And I would embrace it. I'd see how much money I could raise. I would. Now, I tell my son, he's coaching Illinois State all the time, if you bitch about it, you might as well quit because it ain't going away. But at my age, I used to be Mr. Prim and Proper. And now it's like, hey, man.
What? When was that?
What?
When was
wait
a
second.
That's
no,
like
no, when I coached. It was like everything's by the rules.
Okay.
If a kid missed class, he's going to run, blah, 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 blah. Now I wouldn't give a rat's ass. I'd give more money to kids. I'd just try to win, say screw it all, hold up a bag when we won a national championship at midcourt and tell them all to suck it. You know what I mean? I would embrace the hell out of it. I swear to God, just for my own amusement, truthfully.
Do you have anything for us from that Illinois State conference? I know Indiana State, they had a bunch of players in that conference last year in the world of men's basketball. What can you give us this year?
I'll give you Illinois State, dude. They lost an opener. Terrible. My son's ready to quit. I'm like, you guys, you don't even know. This is why I'm valuable. You guys found something. You guys are going to be really good because you found 2 players in that game, and they ran off 2 in a row. They're going to be really good. The conference was interesting. Last year was really good. Like Indiana State beat anybody. You know, Drake was terrific. What was it? Who the hell went to the tournament and won a game? Maybe it was Drake. I think the guy ended up going to West Virginia. It's not as good. The conference isn't as good. They lost a lot of older players. Same thing with the MAC. Lost a lot of older players. And again, same thing with the Big Ten. Remember, when you went into this is the last year of the COVID year. You know what I mean? So there are some older teams. But what's really hurt this year, I think I think every guy except for 2 on the Missouri Valley all-league team ended up leaving and going to a bigger conference for money, for a blank ton of money. Like Illinois State had a kid named Miles Foster. He plays out east somewhere, like Clemson. And he was a good player. I think he got $600,000 to go to Clemson. From Illinois State, a team that had an under 500 record. The money is stupid. And in the MAC or in the other MAC, MAAC in Missouri Valley, it's like a farm system, which is unfortunate. And I think their league's going to be down a little bit this year because of that.
Thoughts on Terry Francona and the Reds?
Well, oh, God, is that great? You got to be loving that.
Absolutely. Well, no, you're right there. I mean, what are your people saying? Are they happy about that move?
Ecstatic. Are you kidding me? Everybody first loves Francona. Second, everybody loves the Reds because of you and because of the Big Red Machine and because of the history of the Reds. So, yeah, everybody's jumping up and down, standing on their heads, crapping snowballs over Terry Francona. What are you, nuts? I mean, they think it's like, you know, Francona's won wherever he's been. He's made it interesting. He seems like a really great dude.
He is a great guy.
So, you know, I mean, oh, God.
He's like Urban Meyer, though. He takes it in internally, and it makes him sick. So,
that's where
he cares too much. Yep.
You got to learn alcohol.
Like us.
The value
Exactly.
of alcohol and Percocets. You learn Percocet, you learn alcohol, and you figure it all out. Then Ambien at night. It's a cycle, Dips.
You just nailed my 13-year pro career. Oh. It was alcohol and Percocet. Or Darvon, whatever I could steal from the trainer.
Yeah.
It was easy back then. You can't do that now.
No, you can't. They used to get Indiana. We actually used to get cough syrup with codeine in it, and I'm like, hey.
The good old days.
Jimmy G, the trainer, give me a little codeine here. I can't sleep. So, yeah, it's a different world. But, no, man, if Francona can handle it, you know, because they're not going to be great. But, God dang, you talk about excited. People are. First time since I've been here. Yeah, I think that's right.
I like what he said to Ellie De La Cruz. He went there. He went down with all of his Dominican players, and he said, listen, Ellie, I don't want you to just be a great player. I want this to be a great team. Kind of what he probably did with Jose Ramirez on the Guardians. I mean, he wants you to make the rest of the team around you better. So, I mean, he's already starting.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he wins. I was watching that thing on the it was the Red Sox.
Yeah.
It's a thing on Netflix. And Francona was freaking great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. You see that thing?
I have. We have Papelbon on a lot. He's great.
Oh, man. Johnny Damon, I was texting him during it, like, hey, man, you guys are incredible. You know, I'm watching all that and the guys and the attitude and the toughness and all that kind of stuff. I like name dropping once in a while. Actually, that's 2 name drops. One was Urban and one was Johnny Damon. I'm ahead of the
Nate,
game.
listen, I like it, and people hear that they'll keep tuning in when you drop names like. Listen, I could do without the nakedness, though. I'm not great on guys' bodies like that. So, you know, Damon's doing the naked push-ups, and I think Pedro's doing the naked pull-ups. I don't know about that, Doc.
That's the winning spirit.
Like, put your clothes on, dude.
My college roommate was 7'2" German. They moved Uwe Plop. He was first-round pick of the Mavericks.
I remember.
Uwe and I, we used to work out in the summer, and then afterwards get home, whatever, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's still sunlight out. We go to the pool at our apartment complex, and he would sit on one end of the couch. I'd sit on the other end of the couch, buck-ass naked. And people would come over, and we'd just say, come on in, and we'd be sitting there. Didn't care. So I respect nudity. I respect doing naked push-ups. would literally sit there, and friends of mine would come in. They're like idiots, and people would leave. Well, I don't care. We're going to sit here. You can come in. You cannot come in. I don't care. So I respect the nudity of the Boston Red Sox.
There you go.
Good for them.
That's why I love you, Doc. All right, man. Until we talk again, you be well, okay?
Thank you, Dan.
All right, see you.
All right,
Guys. Thanks,
Dan Dakich, everybody. Don't at me. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back to First Dibs question of the day.